Okay, now this boxer is an absolute phenom. Jesse Rodriguez Franco of the super flyweight division. Firstly, this guy's startup as a fighter is pretty interesting. He was a prospect. He was a prospect coming up at a weight. He was a prospect coming from the flyweight division. He was just a flyweight fighter coming up in the ranks in the flyweight division. And then he steps on the Carlos versus Rungvisai undercard. Now, this undercard had him on it, but Rungvisai had to pull out for other reasons. And then this 22-year-old who was born in the 2000s, which therefore makes him the first ever world champion to be born in the 2000s, goes up an entire weight division to fight Carlos Cuadras. And he, on a short notice, obviously the underdog, beats up Cuadras. He beats him up. It wasn't a super dominant performance, but it was a comprehensive outboxing. He comprehensively outboxed him and dropped him too. He did both in that fight. Very good performance from someone who was just 22 years old. So after that, after this fight, he fights Wangchek. Now, Carlos Cuadras and Wangchek, initially had a fight with each other, but since Jesse won, he had to fight Wangchek then. For this fight, when it came to me and my prediction initially, I predicted Wangchek to lose this fight by decision. The only time I would see Wangchek winning this fight would be if he knocked out Jesse Rodriguez, but Jesse Rodriguez seems like he has a very good chin. So that was my initial prediction. And when the fight happened, it was very one-sided, and Sor Rungvisai lost terribly. He was getting comprehensively outboxed each round and was getting dominated, then got dropped badly, therefore leading to an 8th round TKO stoppage. This fighter Jesse Rodriguez is inspired by Vasyl Lomachenko with the angles and the feints. Like his utilization of angles and feints is absolutely astonishing. He's a very skilled boxer, and he's also trained by I was about to say Mikey Garcia. I mean, he's trained by Robert Garcia. He's trained by Mikey Garcia's older brother, Robert. Now, I theorized before that Sor Rungvisai fight that he would be the generation ender of the 114 division if he decided to stay at this weight class. And I theorized that he would also beat Roman Gonzalez and Chocolatito. Now, in my opinion, if he fought those other two guys, the one who would give him the most problems is probably to continue. I did not mean to. I mean to say Chocolatito and Roman Gonzalez. I meant to say Roman Gonzalez and Juan Estrada. I feel as though Estrada would give him more problems. All right. You can have your own opinions about who won that first fight. It seemed to me that Chocolatito won that, but aside from that, I feel as though Estrada would give him the most problems. I feel like Estrada is a very fluent boxer for that division as well. So that's just really my only reason. That's really it. Chocolatito is a very good inside fighter too, which would also give Bam problems. But to continue, this fighter, I seriously believe that this fighter would make a genuine impact on this entire division and the world, especially with his popularity. Now, I'm a firm believer in that even if you aren't a super entertaining person, an audience to gravitate towards you. And not everybody has that it factor about them. This is why Sean Porter is not the most popular fighter. Even if Sean Porter wears all of these tuxedos and does all of these antics and things, he isn't the most popular fighter. He's not. While you have other boxers like Miguel Cotto, who isn't even that social and who isn't that much of a talker either, became a really near superstar level, just like Manny Pacquiao, who wasn't an outrageous character. People just gravitated towards him. And I don't know what the future is for Jesse Rodriguez and his popularity, but with performances like these, holy heck, he's most definitely going to get somewhere. He's a one dangerous fighter. There is no way that this 22-year-old straight up dominated both of these fighters in a row. Okay, so Carlos wasn't like a complete domination, but it was a outboxing and an almost domination on the scorecards. But there's a little bit of a disappointing thing. In the post-fight interview, I believe, he was speaking about how he was going to let his brother handle the other two top fighters. And looking at his brother is good too. His brother is also another good fighter, but I don't think his brother is as good as him. I don't give him much of a chance at beating these fighters. Now, he could, and if he does, that'll be amazing. But as of right now, I just don't see it. But he was speaking about going back down to flyweight, his initial division before moving up, and fighting the likes of fighters in like the lightweight division. Not exactly everything that he said. Sonny Edwards, Junto Nakatani, and Artem Delikin, Felix Alvarado, fighters like that. I think he would beat Sonny Edwards. And I don't know about Junto Nakatani. I think he can. I think he can outbox all of these guys and win against all of them. But Junto was definitely the most interesting fight to me because Junto is a long distance range type of boxer who is in one of these lower divisions. So people would always struggle with his height and length. One thing I will say is I think even though this is a smaller division, I think Jesse Rodriguez may find levels of adversity in the flyweight division before he moves back up if he proceeds to go down. I think he's going to find a real challenge at this division. I think it may even be against Junto Nakatani. I think one of these fighters in the flyweight division is going to give him something to work for. Julio Cesar Martinez is not one of them. I think that should be his first fight. If he goes down there against a world champion, he should fight Julio Cesar Martinez because I feel like that's easy work for him. That's just in my opinion though. This Jesse Rodriguez fighter, I didn't know about him until the Carlos Cudras fight. When it happened. I didn't know about him at all. I didn't even know who this person was. Then all I just find out is that this fighter from born in the 2000s gets this WBC world title in good fashion, completely outboxes one of the top fighters in the super flyweight division out of nowhere, and yanks his belt from him. And I'm thinking in my head, looking at Discord like, whoa, who's this guy? Let me watch him. And from my first watch, definitely one of my favorite fighters now. His use of angles, feints, and just a vast array of punches, and throwing his hands too. All of those factors are many reasons why I really like him as a boxer. And he definitely has some power. He got power. He dropped both of those guys. He dropped both of them. He not only dropped both of them, he stopped one of them too. So that's a fighter many people should be on the lookout for. Holy moly. When it comes to me thinking how a fight with him, if he stays at super flyweight, if he stays at this division, I think he should. I think he 100% should. I think he could beat Roman Gonzalez. I think he could beat all of these guys. Many people may disagree with me when I say this, but I think he can. I'm a person who understands that, styles make fights and stuff, and that just because you win on points does not mean you could beat everyone else, even if they lost to the guy who you just beat. I understand, but scorecards, from my perspective, still matter. They still matter. And I feel as though if Jesse Martinez fought Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez, he would win by a pretty close decision. I think Chocolatito would give him a good fight and give him some adversity, just like Estrada. I think both of those two fighters will give him adversity. I don't think he'd lose to any of those guys, but I do think they would give him, a ring legend type challenge, like a good, level-headed champion type fight, which could jump him up to being a star in these lower weight classes. I even heard too that Robert Garcia was putting more of his time into Jesse Rodriguez and Victor Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz, wrong boxer. He put more of his time into Virgil Ortiz, not Victor. I mean, that's like this guy, Jesse Rodriguez, has like that old school energy of a fighter, like an old school prospect who's coming up in the ranks, like Oscar De La Hoya, these like Salvador like those types of fighters, the ones who came up, who fought everybody. And it's not often that you see a boxer that young fighting elite competition and winning in rows like that consistently, performance after performance. It's only two, but that's still crazy to think about, especially nowadays, because they like to gradually move fighters up. they fed him to the wolves, and he adapted quite quickly, quite well. I think there's a great future ahead for this fighter. I think he's going to do well. People are already talking about him facing Inoue. Okay. Let him do a little bit more first. He just came up. He just stepped into the elite world-class level. He's a world-class fighter, no doubt, but he's still young and he still isn't trying to move up yet. Look, I get it. Inoue is a great fighter and they're both good fighters, but I would pick Inoue to win that pretty badly. Now by like pretty mid-round stoppage. Around there. So far right now. So I would say just give him more time. Then we may see Inoue lose against him. But so far right now, he's a great boxer. He's phenomenal. Just like the boxer he's inspired by off of Vasily Lomachenko was also a phenomenal boxer when he came up into the ranks. He wasn't young though. He wasn't young like Jesse, but he was also seen as a phenom. So what are your opinions about Jesse Rodriguez, guys? You guys think he's good? You guys think his brother would beat the other two guys in the division, the two top guys? Do you think he's gonna face adversity at 112 or 111 or whatever that division number is? Do you guys think that? No? Maybe so. All right. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.